The season opener versus the Hokies will set the tone for 2024.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Well, today is Bryce Cunningham's most important start for the Vandy boys. He throws against Florida in SEC tournament play. Construction is rolling and there's buzz, but game one versus Virginia Tech will set the tone for 2024 and possibly beyond. So the importance of this game is that it brings relevance to the overhaul. You know, everything that's happened this offseason since the final whistle blew on a 2-10 season a year ago, everything that's happened between then and now will all get its first test against Virginia Tech. There's been a lot of optimism in the spring, mostly surrounding the defense and surrounding the growth of the offense from practice 1 to practice 15, or to the last scrimmage, I should say. But this is a very, very important game because, well, first of all, because it's game one on the schedule. Okay. That's the first reason. But secondly, like coming out hot or even with a wind or with the wind could ignite Vandy throughout the rest of the season. Okay. The importance of coming out sharp on both sides of the ball, or in all three phases, so to speak, is something that could be a springboard for Vandy if they want to accomplish their goal of going bowling. This is the game that you win to set in motion everything that needs to happen to compete against teams like Missouri and Alabama, to beat teams like Kentucky, to have a chance and win games on the road at Auburn, win games against South Carolina when you haven't done that a whole lot lately. It's things like that set things in motion that give you the confidence and the swagger to do that. And so this is how it starts. You get a really, really nice start against a quality opponent. Virginia Tech has a lot coming back. Virginia Tech they were a bowl team last year, and a lot of those players are returning. They did well in the portal. So it's going to be a tough test, but it's going to be a good test nonetheless, because I think it's something like, I think it's something like, you always beat a top 25 team. It's great. Okay. It's a tone setter, man. And you come out and lay an egg. Unfortunately, that's the flip side of it. You come out and get absolutely destroyed, and the doubt just creeps in after that. Right. So if you don't come out sharp, this is all motivation for them to kind of put into play. Okay, we got to get that bad taste out of our mouth. This is absolutely the way to do it. This is something that you can point to. This is the game that everybody circled on their calendars. Okay, Diego Pavia is going to run out in that huddle for the first time, and those 10 other guys are going to be staring back at him, waiting for him to give them direction. He's going to snap the ball. They're going to move the ball down the field. Defense is going to do the same thing. They're going to line up. They're going to hit you in the mouth. They're going to run downhill. Special teams going to score points, set up field position, and get everything rolling that you need to get rolling. So I am very excited for week one. I think, like I said, this is absolutely the tone setter. This will give us, okay, this is going to be a massive either this is a massive uphill climb, and Vandy's got a lot of work to do, or, okay, this team is actually for real. This is going to be a good season. And then you can reset expectations from there. But as soon as the final whistle blows on this game, you're going to kind of know what it's going to be like for this Vandy team and what they have to overcome, whether it's overconfidence or complete disaster. Only time will tell. But honestly, there's a lot of reason to be optimistic. I mean, I think when you look at the way the strength and conditioning program works, guys have gotten stronger, guys have gotten bigger, guys, I think the most important thing is building up to where you're more protective against those non-contact or contact and non-contact injuries, right? I think you're more protective over your shoulders, over your necks. You strengthen up your legs so that your joints are more stable, so you don't get obviously there's going to be some injuries that you just can't avoid because football is that kind of sport where it's a collision sport and things happen when you collide. And sometimes bad things happen, sometimes really bad things happen. But for the most part, the injuries are going to be down, which is good. Okay, you're going to see a healthier bunch. That's a result of the strength and conditioning program. You're going to see a stronger bunch that has more stamina, that's able to withhold in the fourth quarter. There were several games a year ago and then games in the 5 and 7 season where they almost went bowling, where I think if they had better strength and conditioning, those teams might have outlasted and won those games. I think you have a really good chance to see where you're at in that realm. You have a chance to see, okay, we got Virginia Tech on the ropes. Do we have it in us to knock them out? Can we deliver that knockout blow? Are we too fatigued, or is it going to be our best punch is in the third quarter, and then we better hope that sustains as Virginia Tech comes back and gets us? What's it going to look like? What's that picture going to look like? To me, I think you're going to have a better shot. To me, I think that picture is going to look a lot more positive, because last year it was kind of pitiful. The team just seemed to kind of fall apart late in games because they weren't in good shape. They weren't in good condition. They weren't strong. They weren't as strong. They weren't as healthy. They weren't as mentally healthy, mentally sharp, things like that. They didn't have an identity. All of that fed into it. The mental preparation delivered by the coaches, the mental toughness, the physical endurance built by the strength staff is paramount. And I think they've overhauled and upgraded in those areas. So I think you're going to have that at least coming at you, because these guys are going to have a plan and they're going to be fired up about that plan, and they're going to be able to buy into that. Now, also, you have identities on offense and defense, which I didn't see a whole lot of last year. And even in the 5 and 7 season, I really didn't see much of it anyway. I just thought guys were making plays. I thought they were striking while the iron was hot. I thought they did a lot of good things, but I couldn't tell you what the identity of those Vanderbilt teams were. And in that 5 and 7 season, I probably watched more Vanderbilt football than I had in the past, because they were beating teams like Florida and Kentucky, and they beat Anthony Richardson and Will Levis. So you look at that and you say, okay, what went right for them in those games? I think in those singular wins, they had identity, but I think over the stretch of the season, I don't think that identity was always there, because I don't think they ever fully established it. And then in the 2 and 10 season, it was like a house of cards and fell apart. They wouldn't commit to a quarterback. They wouldn't commit to a scheme. They wouldn't commit to anything. The difference is this year, Clark Lee seems to have, now we'll see, again, it'll set the tone. It'll tell us exactly where we are, the first test. But it seems as though, based on what I've seen, that he's learned that you need to have something for these guys to buy into. You need to have something for them to fall back on, their identity. And that identity is going to be get after you, back to front, secondary to defensive front, on the defensive side of the ball, just smash you, control the ball, and and play option football on the offensive side of the ball. It's really good. And it's clearly defined, and they're gonna play to that. They're gonna play to that identity. Everything they do is playing to that identity, and the standard that is set to that identity. Virginia Tech will be the first test. Virginia Tech has dudes. They have dudes. They have 4 really good receivers. They have a good quarterback coming back. You see him in the thumbnail. They won the Military Bowl last year. They run the ball well. They're physical. They fly at you. They're well coached with Brett Pry. And Brett Pry, somebody that's been around these neck of the woods under James Franklin. He knows a thing or two about winning. So you're going to see a well-coached team. So you're going to have to match a well-coached team with the well-coached team, and I think that's what we have now. I think, like I said in a previous episode, I think Clark Lee's kind of woken up a little bit. He's kind of come down from his perch a little bit and said, hey, I might need to turn a wrench a few times. I might need to rub some elbow grease into this thing and just kind of get down in there and establish this identity, because we need one badly. And he thought he did, to his defense, but he didn't. And so that's going to help you set the tone. Offense, defense, special teams is going to have to take that identity and then apply it each game as you go. But if you have that foundation to fall back on, you're always going to be able to kind of reset and then re-attack. And you always seem to be in it if you have good strength and conditioning and an identity that you can fall back onto and a game plan within that identity. Not, hey, we're going to be run heavy against Virginia Tech, and then we're going to be against Texas since their secondary was getting lit up in the spring game. We're going to go air raid. Like, it's not that at all. It's not non-committal to a system or a style of play. So you're going to see that. And of course, special teams. Special teams has to be elite in a season like this, or for a team like this. So Virginia Tech will set the tone. It will tell us where we are. It will tell the world, this is the first result of the overhaul. This is what you get. Here's the guys we got in the portal. They're going to contribute one way or the other. They're all going to contribute, whether that's scoring a touchdown, getting a meaningful sack or interception, or missing a crucial tackle, fumbling, giving up a sack. Those things, like, they're going to contribute one way or another. And so you're going to see. And Virginia Tech's a tough team. And over the course of the summer, we're gonna do a segment called Know Thy Enemy. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about guys like things like that. So setting the tone is important, especially when you have new construction. The north end zone stuff, some of the parts of the north end zone are ready, but the south end zone will open in 2025. If you want a chance to continue to sell these things out, this is where you start, Virginia Tech. But we'll talk about what all that looks like and the excitement that's built around that, the buzz is built around that. We'll talk about all that next. All right. This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else. That's right. Even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. They know that. They're constantly finding ways to make this process easier. They even launched a new feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. Gotta love it. So what you need to do is go post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN? Are you tired of all that shouting? Well, look no further. Make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So talking about construction, and we're trying to construct an audience here. So thank you for spreading the word. Thank you for being an everydayer, speaking of. But construction updates, man, everything is starting to come together a little bit. The construction crews are making really good progress. This stadium is going to be nice. It's going to be really nice. So what's going to be nice about it is that you're going to start to see the fruits of the labor, because the north end zone, there's some stuff that's ready there. The field level seating is sold out. It's opening in the 2024 season for $1,100 per seat. Okay, it's sold out already, and it's it's going to be great. They're going to have an unrivaled up close vantage point. You're going to have reserved tabletop seating covered and protected from the elements. You're going to have convenient access to exclusive climate controlled hospitality lounge with private restrooms, complimentary game day buffet, cash bar with craft and domestic beer, wine, and specialty cocktails. You're going to have, there's TVs mounted everywhere. There's opportunity to purchase parking in Kensington Garage with convenient access to north entry gates. Right. It is sold out. So if you want to express interest, well, you're a little too late. Okay. And the seating is there. It's going to be awesome. You can also get terrace seating in the north end zone. That's sold out as well. $800 per seat there. You have a bunch of also fun and amenities there as well. So like this is a game changer, man. This is starting to kind of show, all right, well, this stadium is coming together a little bit. There's something that fans can get excited about, not, more than just what's happening on the field. There's, the hanging scoreboard between two cranes that looks like it could fall and kill people. That's done. There's it's all there. So, it's ready to open. They are all sold out. And then fall of 2025, the south end zone opens, which is going to be extremely fun as well. The Commodore Suites, they're opening in 2025, so they're not for sale yet, but it's going to be first class luxury there. The south end zone suites. It's also like it's kind of like up in the corner, like a little box. And the south end zone, the living room boxes are really exciting. Those are opening in 2025 as well. This all in the south end zone, $2,200 per seat for the season. A multi-year commitment also is required. It's going to give you your living room experience inside the stadium. So if any of you rich donors out there want to donate a living room box to me in 2025, that would be outstanding. I'll be your guest. I will make sure you have the most fun time ever, because I'm a fun guest when you bring me to those type of things. So if you're wondering, if you're looking, if you want to donate an experience to the show, I'm all ears. I'm open, right? But in all seriousness, it's going to be incredible. This is the coolest idea ever. I think some of these, the way they're doing these luxury seating and lodge seating and living room seating and all that stuff is really creative, I think. And a lot of stadiums would just throw in sections and say, okay, we're going to increase capacity. But Vandy, I think, had a little bit. They have field club seating too in the south end zone, just as they do in the north end zone, but it's not all open yet. But they have Commodore Club as well. I mean, this is crazy, man. They thought about what would be the most first class stadium experience that you could have. How can we preserve most of the structure of the stadium and add premium seats that has an experience for the fan? How can we be unique in our experience to make Vandy fans want to come to games, not Texas fans visiting, not Bama fans visiting, not Georgia fans visiting, not Kentucky fans visiting from out of town, or even Ball State fans. I don't know if they exist, but they would probably fill up Vandy Stadium in most years. But they want to make it to where, Vandy fans are starting to come back a little bit. And adding these type of options for season tickets and getting that experience, adding to what, adding a little bit of a corporate environment too, which, it's good and bad when you can do that, but just adding those experiences and giving people chances to come see first class or football in a first class venue, I think it brings a little credibility to what Vanderbilt is doing. And I can't wait to talk to Kurt Page about the construction and the updates and kind of how the excitement of all this is happening. But the buzz is there, man. The North End Zone is sold out. All right. Everything is sold out in 2024. I think you're going to see what this could possibly do for fan excitement. I think you're going to see, we talk about tone setting. I think you're going to see in game one, if everything holds up the way it's supposed to, I think you're going to see what this absolutely could do for the fan experience and for Vandy football. I think it creates a buzz that you need around your football program, because if you can create that buzz, you set the tone early. You get a win against Virginia Tech in the first game, you set that tone. Okay, you have a lot of butts in the seats, especially in the new parts. You set that tone. Then you get recruits excited. Then you get the NIL donors excited that recruits are excited. And then you get transfers that are excited. And then next thing you know, you get all these guys that are interested in coming to Vanderbilt where they normally wouldn't. And it all starts with building a first-class environment and making sure that the product you put on the field is legitimate. So I'm excited for one. This is going to be first class. I want to go. I don't have $2,200 yet. If I get a few more subscribers, I can probably get to that point, but I just don't have the money just yet to be able to spend on buying those season tickets. So like I said, if anybody wants to take me as a guest, hint. But anyway, those are construction updates. There's a construction cam on the vucommodores.com /First Bank Stadium Premium Seating link. There's a South End Zone and a North End Zone camera to kind of tell you where everything is. So you can place a deposit for living room boxes. You can watch all the construction, all that good stuff. And it's coming together, man. It's starting to take shape a little bit, and it's getting a little bit more exciting by the day. So they're going to have to hustle if they're going to have the North End Zone done by the fall, but I think they can do it. I think it's close. They can at least have the field level seats if not anything else. So this will be fun to kind of watch it all shake out. And I am very, very excited to see what this stadium can bring to the table. What I'm also very excited to see is how the Vandy boys are going to get through this adversity. They have a very tough SEC tournament matchup against Florida. We'll talk about how this is Bryce Cunningham's most important start of his career. We'll talk about that next. All right, this episode is brought to you by Yahoo Finance. Let's get straight to the point. You want to grow your portfolio to deal with the rising cost of inflation, to pay off your debt or your mortgage, pretty much anything standing in the way of you and financial freedom, right? Well, with Yahoo Finance, you can get access to news, data, and tools that you need in order to help you reach that financial freedom. So for more than 25 years, Yahoo Finance has been the brand behind every great investor. Whether you're a seasoned investor or looking for that extra guidance, Yahoo Finance gives you all the tools and data you need in one place. They are the number one finance destination, producing a holistic look at the financial news cycle, including breaking news, original and editorial perspectives, analyst ratings, independent research, customizable charts, and so much more. So you can securely link your brokerage accounts for a unified view of your wealth, including a 401k and other investments. A comprehensive perspective is what sets you apart. What sets apart great investors, and it's how Yahoo Finance ensures you have the insight to look at your wealth in its entirety. With a community of over 900 million users each month, the real strength is helping you on your way to financial success. For comprehensive financial news and analysis, visit the brand behind every great investor, yahoofinance.com. That's the number one financial destination, yahoofinance.com. That's yahoofinance.com. All right, wrap it up here on the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. Make sure you check out Locked On SEC Next with Chris Gordy. He does a phenomenal job there. And if you want to be the most knowledgeable fan base in all of college football, make sure you check out our other SEC content like Locked On Ole Miss with Stephen Willis or Locked On Auburn with Zach Blackerby. Those just to name a couple. But for the Vandy boys, this is Bryce Cunningham's most important start. Okay, this is going to be what Vandy can either point to as a springboard or just a reminder that you need to find power in the transfer portal, because one of two things is going to happen. Bryce Cunningham's going to throw a butte. He's going to shut him down, and the bats don't necessarily need to get hot. They may get lucky with that. But also, the bats could explode, and Bryce Cunningham, if he struggles, it might not be a big deal, and he can have just an okay start. But if the bats explode, they might be able to overwhelm Florida and knock them out, upset them in the first round. Or the third case is that Bryce Cunningham just can't get the run support, gets shelled because Vandy can't score, and he holds on for dear life, and just poor guy just gets shelled. Okay, so one of those scenarios is going to happen. And what needs to happen is that Bryce Cunningham needs to go out, hit his spots. Okay, this is important. This is going to be the key to it. Okay, this is his most important start, so he's got to be locked in. He's going to go out and he's going to hit his spots. Okay, he's going to go out and pitch. And Bryce Cunningham has struggled away from the hawk. Let's be honest about that. Like, this is a different ballpark, so you get kind of nervous, you get kind of leery that he's not going to be able to find the zone. Or if he can find the zone, it's going to be right out of the middle, and people are going to crush it like Jack Caglione. But he just needs to settle in, hit his spots, get guys out. Okay, he has a little bit of moxie. He can do it. He's pitched well before. He's pitched well away from home before too. So in that Texas tournament, but he needs to hit his spots and let the batters hit themselves out of contention. Okay, not get a barrel on the ball. And at the plate, the way they can help him is by getting to Florida's bullpen as quickly as possible. That means taking pitches, playing, as stupid or as lame as this sounds, it's true, but they're going to have to play Moneyball style. Get on base, see pitches, get these pitch counts up, get to their bullpen. I guarantee you, there's not a single college bullpen that wouldn't make their fan base nervous. I guarantee you, every single bullpen in the country makes their fan base nervous. That's just what bullpens do. They're spotty at best. It's just the nature of that position, relief pitching. You just don't know if you're going to have it when you come out of the bullpen, because you have to just kind of find it in the 20 minutes of warm up you get and the 5 warm up tosses you get when you get put in the game. Like you have to find your rhythm. You need to find it immediately, because sometimes you're put into situations that are not advantageous to you. Okay, and if the faster a team can get to the bullpen, whether it's teams getting to Vandy's bullpen or vice versa, that usually spells out a little bit of success, because you can often take advantage of those guys' mistakes, because sometimes they're in such combustible situations, those mistakes will happen. So at the plate, you have to be patient. You have to take your shots when you get them. You can't go and force it. You can't go try to score 12 runs on the first at bat. It's not going to happen. You just got to drive the baseball and go. If a pitcher throws one right down the middle, you got to take advantage of it and get yourself on base. If he doesn't, then force him into a 3-2 count before you either hit or walk. Or even if you strike out on a full count where you fouled a bunch of pitches off, if you get his pitch count up, that's not a terrible strikeout. We'd rather you have on base, obviously, but that's not a terrible strikeout. Get these pitch counts up on these starters. That goes for if you beat Florida into the next round, and the next game you play, the next game you play, the next game you play. When you lack power, that's how you do it. When you have a bunch of power, when you can hit a ton, then you don't really necessarily need to worry about pitch counts. It's great, but you don't have to worry about that thing because you can just mash your way out of trouble. And so, but for a team like Vandy who has no power or has very little power, you have to take that Moneyball type approach where you got to play the statistics against them. And if you can do that, you'll be successful. So that's going to do it for us here. We will be back at you for another episode tomorrow. I've got graduation, so you won't get a live result reaction from me from the game. That'll come a day late. But you will. So we'll be graduating our kids. So I'll be taking part of that. So I'm not going to record tomorrow night. Probably record before. You'll have some really good content. That'll never falter. But just a little programming note there. Just if you're looking for a day of reaction to game one of the SEC tournament, you're not going to get it, unfortunately, because of graduation. But you will still get a reaction on it. Hopefully, it's a reaction tied in with the preview of the next one. But you'll get that in due time. So anyway, that's going to do it for us all here today. Thank you for listening. Find us on social media, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Anchor down.